tell you what, it was quite a day in Manhattan. Hundreds of thousands of people took to the streets for the Pride March. This year's march commemorating the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall Uprising, a turning point for the modern gay rights movement. And News 4's Brian Thompson was in the thick of it all. He joins us now from Greenwich Village with all the excitement that apparently is still going on, Brian.
It is still going on, still going strong. Look behind me here. You can see 600.
New Orleans has a very open and out gay and lesbian population.
We can't wait to talk about violence against Black trans women when they're murdered.
Right now, it's a community shocked and saddened by recent murders of 2 transgender women.
I'll repeat that. We can't wait to talk about violence against Black trans women until they are murdered and slain in the street.
There, in 2016, activists tallied a record 27 transgender murders in the United States. 7 transgender killings already this year, and 3 in Louisiana.
I hope that the Supreme Court takes into consideration that LGBTQ Americans are Americans and deserving of civil rights just as any others, and I hope that the Trump administration realizes that we're never going to back down from their antagonism.
Just tell me what your reaction was to that.
I was thrilled.
Absolutely not. The court made very clear, as we made clear in our argument before the court, that Jack loves and serves anyone who walks into a store, but he doesn't express all messages, and that was critical for the court's decision. Justice Kennedy made clear that religious hostility by the government has no place in a pluralistic society, and that was critical to his ruling.
Jack, some people may look and they might think, wow, you know, I think this guy is discriminating. 50 years ago, it was interracial marriage. You couldn't go in and some people wouldn't give you goods or services, and now this guy's doing that. What's your reaction to that?
I don't discriminate against anybody. I serve everybody that comes in the shop. So to say again, I don't create cakes for every message that people ask me to.
So if a gay couple came in and said that we'd like some cupcakes for our
Absolutely.
wedding.
I told these 2 men when they came in the store, I'll sell you cookies, brownies, birthday cakes. I'll make you custom cakes. I'll make anything.
It's just the art of the cake.
This cake is a specific cake. A wedding cake is inherently religious. A wedding is an inherently religious event, and the cake is definitely a specific message that.
I'm here to support the fight for transgender equality and rights for LGBTQ people, especially the fact that this is a fight over employment discrimination, and the right to a livelihood is foundational to the right to thrive for all people, including trans and gender nonconforming and queer people.
So I'm Reverend Marissa Daney, and I'm a Presbyterian Church USA minister. Do I think religion, sexuality, gender can peacefully combine? Yeah, I definitely do. In fact, I don't really see a reason why they can't be all a part of one another. For me, it's hard to understand how those who believe they're following God, especially the Christian God, would discriminate, because I think that goes completely counter to the message.
People dedicated to religion can still be accepting to LGBTQ people. Well, first of all, if their religion and their faith really supports their belief in loving everyone and celebrating the gifts of all people, then their religion directly supports their acceptance of LGBTQ people. If their religion doesn't, then I can see why they would struggle. I don't think it's okay to discriminate against people in any scenario, although I do also recognize that we're all human and may struggle with that at different points. I think people who are LGBTQ and are religious can accept themselves and still practice their religion, probably by finding a group of people that also shares the same religion but is accepting of them. I think it's really hard to practice your religion in a group of people that's rejecting you. Should an owner of a venue be forced to rent their space out to queer people? Without knowing the laws around, owning a business, I feel a little hesitant to say any definitive answer, But I think they should be renting it out to people and shouldn't be inquiring into their sexual orientation. That shouldn't be a condition upon rental. Or, yeah. I wish that LGBTQ people could be accepted by all churches and all religious people. I do wish that, but I don't think that that any people should be forced to accept others. I don't think that's true acceptance. If all people are treated the same, I'm assuming you mean by the U.S. Constitution or by U.S. law. I think that different religious groups don't treat LGBTQ people the same because they seem to hold the belief that LGBTQ people are doing something wrong and need to be corrected. So I think that that's why they don't, but that's not my belief. Where's the line between religious freedom and discrimination? I think that's a hard line to find, because you want there to be religious freedom and you don't want there to be discrimination, and yet certain people's religious beliefs mean that they discriminate against people that kind of contradict those beliefs. So I think it's a difficult line. I personally think that my religious beliefs, at least, don't support discrimination. I think that allies can help to stop discrimination from religious people by getting to know people. All across the board, unfortunately, I don't think people's beliefs are changed just by good logical arguments. I think people's beliefs are really changed when they get to know another person. So if an ally is a religious person, they may already know other religious people and can introduce them to LGBTQ people if it's a consensual introduction. And that can really help to change people's beliefs and discrimination. But if not, then as hard as it may be for someone who's not religious, get to know someone who's religious. Get to know things other than their beliefs and opinions. Just get to know them as a human, just like we'd hope that religious people would be getting to know people of all sexualities and gender identities. So, I mean, I think it's important to note that religion doesn't mean that you discriminate against people of different sexual orientations or gender identities. It's not like there's this polarity, like you can't be religious and be accepting of, there's a lot of religious people and religious leaders that are of various gender identities or sexualities. So the two are not, intrinsically opposed. And so as a religious person, and my father was actually also a minister, I was always raised, in the Christian tradition, and I was raised believing that Jesus, this person that Christians say that they follow, his ways and his teachings, was radically inclusive. And so what that meant was anyone that was kind of on the outside of majority society, anyone that seemed not as good as anyone else, is actually, that's the group that should be welcomed and included and loved more. Anytime we're raising ourselves up above someone else, then we're actually going outside of the teachings of Jesus. Unfortunately, that's not what every Christian believes. So yeah, no, I've always believed that people of different sexual preferences, orientations, and gender identities should be loved and included. But I've been in various communities where they haven't believed that, and that's been really difficult.
My name is Connor Farrell. I think that in terms of our values as a country, the Supreme Court incorporates more of the Bill of Rights than individualistic freedoms of religion, essentially what people think they're entitled to versus what is written in the Bill of Rights. There is a nationalization of the Bill of Rights, where Supreme Courts in cases are applying doctrines and clauses to state governments, and that can interfere with what people believe in their freedom of religion. Essentially, there has been over time a narrowing in the interpretation of court cases related to freedom of religion, the Establishment Clause, that is sort of a belief-action dichotomy, in that in freedom of religion, the action of a court case is, sorry, not of a court case, but in belief-action dichotomy, the belief of a religion outweighs the action. And this is problematic because of a lot of religions rely on actions, but are seen as unconstitutional because the First Amendment is unable to protect these actions.